So you can use that as a tip. And then instead of saying, trying to explain it to them, you can explore this concept together. Say, like, hey, I'm not really sure about that. Let's ask ChatGPT together. Let's Google it together. Let's see if we can find a video on YouTube together. And then, even better, especially if you have a gifted child, you can circle back and you can have the child explain it to you. And that's the student as teacher technique. So, always, if you really want to get that deep level of concept, ask a question, let your child ruminate, and then come back and have them teach it to you. Some of you asked about siblings, and that really is kind of a tricky one. We had to teach kids in groups during the pandemic. And in that case, depending on what your access to screens are, we found it was really valuable to have the kids start teaching each other. So all of the kids will be playing the game, and you're kind of working as a guide when they get stuck, guiding them along, occasionally popping in and saying, hey, can you explain that back to me? And the kids can get really excited about explaining concepts to each other as well. So that's something that we did a lot. There's also, so essentially, like, kids are working independently, but then they're also chiming in and supporting each other, and they're watching the way that you're teaching them as you go. Okay. So those were kind of like the main basics that I wanted to go through. I guess we did actually cover quite a bit of what I was going to talk about as well. But I did also kind of want to go a little bit deeper into this idea of gifted and advanced math, because a lot of you are wondering, how do I support a gifted child? And again, it's really a matter of giving them that freedom to learn at their own pace with the right curriculum. Sometimes challenges with a gifted kid is they'll tend to either rush ahead and skip that understanding. And in that case, this student as teacher is so valuable. Just saying, like, can you please explain this to me? Ask questions, etc. And then on the inverse, sometimes children who are gifted get very frustrated if they get an answer wrong. And they're afraid to even try because they're so scared about getting it wrong. And we've seen this so many times at Modulo. And in that case, I always suggest to parents, you're going to have to model yourself not being a perfectionist. You're going to have to start celebrating your own failures and really model that attitude. Talk about struggles that you're having at work, that you're pushing past. And then when you're doing those math problems together, just, very gently bringing that attitude in. But I think the biggest way to support that is really to start with yourself. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much the main things that I wanted to cover. Think Rohan, people had a lot of questions about how to optimize Prodigy. So maybe, do you want to take people through that a little
Yeah.
bit? And then, and as Rohan's talking, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat, and I'll be on it like a hawk.
Thank you so much, Manish. Just to help me out in terms of how deep to go on the Prodigy platform, if you wouldn't mind in the chat typing, are you currently a Prodigy user and use it with your child, or are you new to Prodigy and kind of want to learn a little bit more about the platform more generally? So that would help me to cater kind of my level of demo here. Gail, you're new to it. Awesome. Thank you for that, Gail. Anne's a Prodigy member. Awesome. Kara's the current user as well. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. And Alicia, I see you use it as well. Awesome. Okay, so we've got a good mix. Most are current users of Prodigy, so that is fantastic. Here during my section, I want to give you a little bit of a preview as to how to use Prodigy with your child in the optimal way in your homeschooling practice. And just to give you a little bit of background, I am going to log into my Prodigy account. So the way that Prodigy works for the math game is I have my own character here. So this is me on the left-hand side of the screen. Can you guys hear the music as well?
I cannot hear the music.
Cannot hear the music. Okay, let me just share my sound as well. There
Now
we
I
go.
can
You
hear it.
should be able to see my sound now, hear my sound now. Okay. And the way that Prodigy works is as I'm going about the Prodigy world and leveling up my wizard character, I have to battle various monsters. And in order to defeat these monsters, I have to answer curriculum aligned math questions. So, for example, I have just gotten into a math battle right now, and it gives me a question, in this case, on fractions. And you can see that it's actually using a particular manipulative here called fraction strips as well. So one of the things that you can do is Prodigy does have, if you click on the top left-hand side, some manipulatives that you can use. In this case, since this is a fraction strips question, I can actually choose to drag in some fraction strips as well. And I can kind of line it up here and see if this aligns. As Manisha mentioned, if I might be struggling with this question, I can click on this light bulb and get a hint potentially. And then I am going to say this represents 1/4 because this roughly lines up to 1/4 here.